Today, we're going to recap quadratic equations and the different methods we can use to solve them. Now, to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take this same equation and solve it in a variety of different ways. The first of those is going to be factorizing, which is what we'd actually use in this case, because it's a reasonably simple solution. We're then going to quickly remind ourselves how we can check that answer on a graph. And then finally, we're going to use this equation to remind us of how the quadratic formula works. Now, in this instance, that formula is overkill, but it's a nice way of reminding yourselves how to use the formula. Okay, so let's start with how we solve that equation by factorizing. So the equation we're looking to solve is 3x squared minus 5x equals 2. Now, the first thing we need to do is get all the terms over on the left-hand side. So we have 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 equals 0. Now we can go about factorizing it. Now, because we've got a 3x here, we know that one of the brackets is going to have to contain that 3x, and then the other is just going to be x. And in each of those, there's going to be a constant that adds up to give us the formula above. So we've got 3x plus d, x plus e equals 0. So from looking at the equation above, we know that dE must equal minus 2, and that 3e plus d must equal minus 5. Now, because we know that dE equals minus 2, that tells us that one of them is negative. If we also assume that they're both whole numbers, it tells us that one of them is 2 and one of them is 1, or the negatives thereof. So we can apply that to looking at the second equation and say that E equals minus 2 and D equals 1. And then we can sub these back into the equation here. So that gives us 3x plus 1 times x minus 2 equals 0. So we know that 3x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. And from that, we can work out our values of x equals 2, or x equals minus a third. Now, let's take a look at how we can use a graph to check that answer. So here is a graph of that equation of 3x squared minus 5x minus 2. And we can see here the intercept points on the x-axis will give us our values for x. And sure enough, we've got 2 and minus 1 over 3. So that's a nice way of checking that the answers we got from factorizing the equation are correct. And now let's have a look at how we would use the quadratic formula to solve that equation.